Welcome back everyone to the two-headed roll gaming channel Last Epoch and the final episode from our Bladedancer run, at least for this first try series. I definitely want to return and really push this class to the maximum because I am very curious. On one hand, there's plenty of opportunities for you to do a lot of damage very quickly. On the other hand, there's plenty of opportunities for you to die as well, and it felt like every time I corrected one problem, another one arose, and at least for the past 20 to 30 minutes, as I've been going through the Reason Lake, more in the Fallen Tower and now in the Imperial Tetima, I have been dying a lot. And I feel like, of course, one of the big problems, just looking at the character, my physical resistance is very low, my necrotic resistance is at 1%, so 5% resistance and 1% resistance definitely doesn't help a lot, especially because I have no block chance. Armor is reducing 90% damage, actually it's saying that it's reducing 13% damage in this area, so that is not great. Our dodge chance is at 23%. There's definitely more that I need to do to build up defenses here in order to survive. And I feel like you might encounter this problem as well as you're leveling up, because I haven't grinded for levels in any other area. I just went through the game straight up. So this means that these problems might be your problems as well. So it's time to improve the character with some of the things which I found and spend some points in doing so. I guess being under leveled and not spending passive skill points could also be something that has to do with survivability. But let's see if it works. So for now, I have this helmet, which is going to provide us with some physical resistance, increase the critical strike chance by a little bit, and some health regeneration, some vitality. We're losing only on cold resistance and mana, which doesn't really matter. Not the best thing in the world. This belt provides us with 53 armor, and it also gives us some ward on potion use, and I like that, so we're gonna throw this in. I'm going to change the relic that we're running with right now in order to get this one, which is going to increase our poison damage by a little bit and also our damage over time by 24%. We are losing on a 21% chance to poison on hit, but I feel like we can improve it in other ways. I'm also going to equip these unique gloves, which will provide us with 239% increased melee stun chance, 20% increased melee stun duration, 160 armor, 93 health, and we cannot leech health anymore, but it feels like for what I have at the moment, these unique gloves might help us a lot, even pushing our health to 453, so that might be a way in which we could improve our survivability. Better boots, a bit more armor, a bit more physical resistance. We are at 90% right now. I have this damage over time and increased poison damage, so we're gonna throw this idol in. I could even think about equipping this one, which would give us some ward on shift, but I haven't been using shadow daggers yet, so I'm not going to go with it at the moment. I have a slightly better dagger here, which is going to increase our chance to poison on hit. It's removing some increased poison damage, but at the end of the day, I feel that having a higher chance to poison the enemy is better than having a bit more damage. At least these two in comparison, I know I exchanged this extra poison on hit with this one. So, afterwards, I have this belt as well. And I think I am actually going to throw this one in. I even forgot about it, because it's giving us a percentage of dodge rating. So if you look here, we're at 23%, and if we throw this, it's at 25. Multiplying what we have as a base is really good for us because we have plenty of base dodge. So we're gonna do this for now as far as equipment goes. In the last episode, I spoke about probably finding an item which would provide us with more poison damage. This one is not for our class. It's 35% chance to poison on spell hit, and what we're using are not spells. +1 to poison spells, +3 to all attributes, damage reflected, and 35% increased poison damage. We would get the attributes and damage reflected and the poison damage there, but somehow, I don't know if it's really that great. I mean, if I were to say, I guess we could run with it for a while just to do some extra damage, but it's not the best thing in the world. I also want to replace the sword that we're running with for now. It is a bit unfortunate because we would get some extra ward here and the extra speed. The 21% increased melee attack speed is really great. But I have this sword which gives us a higher damage with poison and also increased chance to poison on hit. And I would like to upgrade that. I can't throw in more poison damage because I don't have the necessary modifier. I can increase the chance to poison though. And I think we're gonna look, let's see if we can find some speed. Yeah, melee attack speed. Let's try to increase this one as well. Feels pretty good. Okay, +1 tier 2 poison damage. Okay, so we got a bonus there. So critical success, preserve forging potential and crafting materials. And it gave us this increased melee attack speed, plus it upgraded the poison damage to the next tier, which provides us now with 11% increased poison damage. I like this sort of crafting random modifier that can happen. What else are we gaining? Can we look at ward? Is this something? No, we cannot. We can apply more physical damage, which wouldn't be a bad idea necessarily. But let's go with a bit more speed. Okay, I went with a bit more chance to poison, and I thought that maybe I could do an extra upgrade on speed, but it didn't happen. So at this moment, we should be able, we're moving from 550 to 718 damage. That is pretty good. We have an 82% chance to poison right now, and 82 poison damage. Not the biggest poison damage in the world, but definitely works. As far as passive skill points go, we could go even further here with chance to apply these poisons, but I'm also thinking of scaling up these glancing blow and getting some dexterity as well. Or I could go in this direction. No. Let's go with one more point here in the extra chance to apply poison. And let's see what we unlock next. Shroud of Dusk. You have additional health and you have a chance to gain a stack of Dusk Shroud when hit. Each stack of Dusk Shroud adds 50 dodge rating and 5% chance to receiving glancing blow. I like that. We're gonna use it. We're going to invest 1 point, but we need to invest a point in Cloak of Shadows. Yeah, we'll do both of those. Scarlet Stream is only about bleeding. We're not gonna go with that. Rhythm would give us increased melee attack. Okay, a few more things, but I don't really care for right now. We need to invest a few more points in whatever we think is useful. We've also unlocked this skill, which is called Synchronized Strike, requires a melee weapon. Jump forward and strike in an area in front of you while shadows appear and simultaneously strike on either side of you. Okay, that is interesting to me. I'm feeling that getting a bit more health and a higher chance to cast Dash Crowd is good. And then let's go with this one, increasing our global damage over time. Over here we've unlocked Veil of Night. You have increased melee attack speed. When you use a melee attack and hit at least one enemy, you have a chance to gain the stack of Dash Shroud. Okay, so there's another chance to trigger Dash Shroud by attacking the enemy, and I do like that. And then we're gonna go with damage over time. There we go, that's the passive skill points, that's what we've been spending it on. Synchronized Strike, let's just try it out over here. Okay. Okay, that is actually not bad. I didn't know that I have a bot battle over here, but let's try it out before we upgrade the skills. As you can see, as far as damage goes, I really didn't have to go this far, to be honest. I didn't have to upgrade the character. The problem is not on damage at all. I feel like there, as I said in the beginning, there's plenty of opportunities for you to increase damage. You can do that by either going with speed, damage over time. I mean, at this point we have 13 stacks of poison on these enemies, so that's pretty good, I would say. But the biggest challenge that I have is that when I go further, you will see that I'll be dying a lot. Or at least there's a high risk of dying. That's why I have upgraded the character. But let's go through the skills and then we'll push forward and see if we fix some of the problems. So, for the moment, on this side, enemies killed by Flurry have a chance to release kinetic bursts around the target, dealing physical damage. And I like that idea. Let's invest 1 point there. And then let's scale over here on poison penetration with poisons, right? We have a 10%, not the hugest upgrade in the world, but it should work. Over on this side, I think I'm going to go with cleansing ailments more than anything. We're going to encounter even more poison damage as we go forward, so getting in this direction, I feel like it's a good idea before we start increasing the chances to throw these flasks. Or smoke bomb. I've already thrown a point here in Toxic Cloud and one in Venom Infusion, increasing the poison chance by 25%, mostly because I wanted to try out and figure out whether this is something that I want to keep in the future. I am going to go here with Knives in the Dark. Upon reaching 4 stacks of Shadow Daggers, the daggers plunge into the target, dealing physical damage, and damage always critically strikes. I'm very curious to see whether investing in this will start applying those stacks, or how does it function? Do I need to really upgrade Shadow Daggers for this to work, or can we see it working either way? That is something in which I'm curious about, so we'll be going in this direction. Then with the extra point, even though I could go with more poison, I want to increase the area of effect, and I will tell you why. One of the big problems which I have is actually the ranged attackers. I am able to easily throw the smoke bomb and have all of these melee warriors pretty much avoid us, right? They can't really get to us. However, when I'm talking about the ranged attackers, there's a big issue there. And for right now, I can already feel the fact that I don't have the sword which provides us with ward anymore. I'm still getting some ward by throwing in something like a potion on potion use, and we have a few opportunities to gain that ward, but it doesn't last for long. It's very little. The sword was one way because of the speed in which we could get a lot of ward. And I might even go back to it. I don't know at the moment. We shall see how well we can survive. But as you can see, even at 500 health, I am losing a lot. And that might be because our resistances are low. That's one main reason. Even now on Necrotic, we're not great. And maybe I should even consider throwing in some modifiers wherever we have an opportunity to do so. Let's say here we go with Necrotic. Necrotic resistance, okay. Doesn't allow us to apply it over here because we don't have a suffix open. Maybe on the belt, let's see. No, just necrotic damage. Once again, it's not open there. It has to be open here, right? Suffixes are on the right, prefixes are on the left. And all of these are occupied. Maybe here. Perfect. So let's throw this in. Let's upgrade it as much as we can. Now we have a 23 resistance. We shall see how well it works. But as you can see, there are a lot of ranged attackers. And it's not super easy to target those birds, for example, if they move around, because they're moving very chaotic. I feel like they're made in a good way to give you such a challenge of targeting, especially when it's chaos, when everything is around you. The way that the lighting goes, and when you are focused on what's happening around you and you're also paying attention to your health bar, those birds, those dark birds on a dark background, are hard to see and target. If you're watching the video, you can see everything from a distance, like being a backseat driver, right? It feels like you can see a lot more from that position, and thus you feel like, hey, how could you see, I don't know, one car or another, or some sort of person crossing the street or things like that, right? And I feel like that's something that happens when I'm looking at videos as well, when I'm figuring out, hey, you've missed something, you've missed an item, you've done all that. But when you are in the game and you're focused on certain idea, a certain plan. You're looking at your health, you're trying to move around, you're trying not to die while also being super focused on everything that's happening around you is, I guess it is a bit more difficult to do. I like the amount of poison that we're applying now. You can see that we're getting up to 14, 15 stacks before the poison starts to run out, basically when you're losing stacks. But we're doing pretty well. Okay, let's run away. Get that health potion there. Nice. Okay, I'm feeling slightly better. After all the upgrades that we've done, I'm feeling slightly better. Now you've seen my health bar run out and get down to 200, 100. Before equipping these gloves at least, things have been very bad. But on one hand, I feel like those gloves might carry us. And we're even going to test that out, even if it means us dying. Not that big of a deal. I'm not on hardcore or anything, so nothing as important. Let's see, where are? Okay, so we'll throw these gloves in. They're not the best in the world. They're not giving us that extra 100 health or 150 health. So let's see whether we can survive this area, especially when we're fighting certain spellcasters. Okay, so far so good. I think the extra damage is helping us a lot. Because the quicker we kill the enemies, the better it is. What if I was... How much damage did we do this? About 200? Let's try to get back with the word. If we are getting word from this sword at a good rate, then we have a high amount of speed, which means that we're also stacking the poison a lot quicker on enemies. Maybe we can survive better. You can see that we're gaining stacks over here of health when we are in combat. So maybe losing on 200 damage is not that bad. You can see critical strikes happen quite often. They are guaranteed for our third strike. It's an upgrade that we took last time. And it's, if I'm not mistaken... Ooh, okay, we're in a bit... Okay, shouldn't have opened there, should have focused. We are in these really tight corners. What happened there is that we sat in the tight corner and they were doing all these lightning bolts. And that's why we died so quickly. Sitting still at times can be certain death, especially with these attacks which are knocked off the walls. Basically, they're not running away, they're not casting it in a distance. They are casting them in an area, and if you sit in that area and the area is very small, you're gonna take full damage. And that is really bad for us. Yeah, this is the equipment, 100% critical strike chance with the third strike of Flurry. So at least every 3 attacks, for every 1 cast at the end, we are going to do a critical strike. Which is a great ring. Cool. Another level up. As you can see, in this situation, like, I can throw that smoke bomb near. And I could even transform it in a way where we can throw it in a distance, which might not be bad. Boom. One of the plans which I had at some point was to make smoke bomb castable on the location of the mouse, right? So you throw it in a distance and then just jump in with the shift. Okay, we have a boss battle over there. Let's upgrade our character now, and I'm gonna go even further with damage over time. At this moment, we have a 74% chance to poison the enemy, and we have 74 poison damage. Plus, it's reducing the resistances. Okay, I can see shadow daggers being stacked there, but we have one stack at the moment. We needed, what, 4 stacks to cast it? So if we're doing only one stack, and that means that we are not actually doing enough. Is it once? No, apparently more stacks can gather up if we're doing the smoke screen, if it's sitting there for long enough. Let's do another one. Okay, it casted. I need a lot more duration on the smoke in order for those daggers to gather up. So it's not the most effective thing in the world, especially for a boss battle.
I'll take that as a yes. Get to the railing and give a signal when you're ready.
Or in the case of a boss battle, because if I think about it, it's even worse when we're talking about mobs. They are not surviving long enough for us to throw in 4 daggers.
Well, that was actually kind of refreshing.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this
Now,
here.
where are
Because
we?
since we're doing some shadow dagger damage, we can get that extra physical. Plus 12 for on shift. It's not the best in the world, 12, but
Washed up, it's probably. Yeah, I'll only slow you down.
I mean, it will run out quickly. Let's take a look over here. There we go. That's pretty much the 12 word right there. It goes down automatically. You can reduce the rate at which it goes down, so you can make it a bit more useful. Okay, I am now taking a lot of damage through poison. Definitely want that upgrade which cleanses ailments. We shouldn't be too far from it. Two more points. I like how this build has gone. So far, I definitely see a lot of value in playing with the Bladedancer. I really find it an interesting class. There's always something to do. There's, at least for this moment, because the game hasn't been out for long, question arises whether you should be investing a bit more into damage or dodge or armor, or maybe you should go with resistances. Maybe you should upgrade the decoy here because it attracts a lot of attention. Thus the enemy's not paying attention to you. It does an explosion at the end. It also allows us to heal up in between sessions while the enemies are busy with the decoy. I really feel like we could do a lot. I am guessing, I haven't looked closely, but we're gonna look at it now. But I am guessing that the decoy can reduce resistances as well. Sounds logical to me, like something that could happen. So what do we have here? Maximum decoys. Okay, changes the ignite to poison chance. Explosions are replaced by acid flasks. We have even more poison? No, that's it. Okay, I really thought that we would get more out of it. But apparently not. Huh. That is surprising to me. Ooh. Killing blow damage has been fire damage. Maybe it was an explosion from one of these spiders, scorpions, not spiders. Or maybe it was a huge attack all at once. You've seen that it took out my entire health bar with that one attack. I have 0 fire resistance, so I guess it's not hard to believe that that happened. I don't know how it happened for this class, but it seems like it's the weakest I've ever had on resistances. I guess it matters the type of equipment that you have. At the end of the day, I'm trying to scale up poison damage with chance to poison with damage over time. So that occupies plenty of the slots. Even though in the past with the other classes that I played with, I didn't have high damage or as high of damage and as quick of an attack, the rest of the stats, the survivability was better. And playing with the bowman definitely helped the rogue class in moving away and staying at a distance. But this is a very interesting class as well. 46 ward gain on use with smoke bomb, some increased mana, some health, some 31 physical resistance, and 50 armor. Okay, how much dodge would I lose if I replace that armor? 6%. I like the armors, they look pretty good. And we wouldn't gain too much from it, except for the physical resistance. Let's run with it for a while. Let's see if that physical resistance is adding up.
Easy. Too easy.
Okay, it's that scorpion attack that I have to look out for. I'm gonna put down one of these decoys. So far so good. Foxy Jade Amulet of Frailty. He's throwing damage, some poison damage, some chance to apply Frailty. We don't really have anything on this amulet except for some void resistance. Okay, well, let's replace it. Okay, very close to another level up. And the time is almost up for right now. And I'm trying to think at this moment, what do I think about this class? It's definitely not new player friendly. I mean, you can try it out, of course you can try anything out, but it feels like it's very squishy. There's potential for you to die a lot, especially early on in the game. Reaching this mid portion of the game, I guess you could say that there's plenty that you could invest on. You can increase your dodge, you can add up a lot of armor. Probably if you replace everything that I have on dodge with a lot of armor, it's probably better. Has a good chance to be better. But other than that, it's definitely difficult. For someone who's an average player of ARPGs, I think it could work. I would really say try it out. I don't think you're going to regret it in any way. There's cool stuff for you to try out. At this moment, I've just used Flurry. It felt very good to me. I had that sword, I wanted to push it in a build as well. Then it felt very good to have Shift, and I felt like it was nice to have this extra poison when moving in and out of combat. Smoke Bomb is mostly a necessity, I would say, because you need to blind enemies and make sure that they don't hit you. I think my next specialty would be Acid Flask, just to increase the damage, because we're also throwing here the Acid Flask, right? So it's increasing the damage of that. Do we have any acid? No, we don't have any acid on the Smoke Bomb, so that's not something that can happen. However, if you don't necessarily care for the Smoke Bomb, you can go with Decoy, which also attracts the attention of enemies, has the advantage of also exploding. I think you can increase duration as well over here with the Decoy. Yeah, we have quite a few. Final explosion damage, reduced duration. No, we don't want that. We want more duration here. It would increase the cooldown, but it provides you with even more damage at the end. And then you could go here where explosions are replaced by acid flask. This is actually what I might do if I push this build forward. I will remove the smoke bombs. I will increase the duration of the decoys. We are going to go with explosion replaced by acid flask, and at level 35 I am going to throw in the acid flasks and make this really strong. Lethal Mirage, become immune for a duration and rapidly strike nearby targets with 6 mirages. It has a 10-second cooldown, so it's one of those skills which you do once and then you get back to your tactics. And I feel like this might be the final slot that you occupy, that you specialize in, because it's giving you immunity. Either that, or you can get back to the smoke bomb, because you can reduce a lot of these resistances from the enemy. I guess you could do that. But as I said, this is just one tactic. This is one tactic based on the idea that I had with applying poisons, which at this moment, even though it might not have the highest amount of damage, 78, when I am doing 10 stacks, that's 780 damage over how many seconds? 3 seconds. If I'm doing 15 stacks, that's what? So I'm trying to do math now. 40, right? So that's 1,011. Did I do the math right on that? Yeah. Something like that, right? It's either 10, 20 or 11, 20, but I think it's 11. Either way, I'm not gonna bother anymore right now. That is really not the important. We're not doing a build guide here, trying to figure out what the numbers are. Maybe we'll do this in the future and I'll be a bit more specific then. For right now, we're just getting a feel for what these classes have to offer. And tomorrow, I'm gonna try to build a ninja. We're gonna go with the shurikens. I am very curious to see where that will lead us. And we're gonna get a falcon as well. The most Naruto character ever. We're gonna try to make it and we'll see whether it's fun to play or not. Who knows? See you all tomorrow. Until then, I wish you all to have a wonderful day.